Yeah, I think Dr. JP, I think I just wanted to introduce, we have another crusader on corruption. I don't know if you might have heard Sree Iyer from PGurus. He exposed NDTV's, how NDTV, all the games played. Maybe you can listen from him also. And also, I think he's one of the few I've seen the website who's really covering about NDTV's scandal, nobody else. And also the Chidambaram scandal and his son's stuff. So I think here I give to Sree.
Listen.
Thank you. But Dr. JP, my life experience, I just want to share it to those of you who are interested in knowing what's happening in this country. I'm like many of you, I'm a citizen of the United States, but I feel as strongly about my Janma Bhumi as I do about my Karma Bhumi. There's nothing wrong in wanting good for both. There's nothing wrong in that. I mean, this is something that many of us are going to face, so you shouldn't think of what this or that, nothing like that. But Dr. Jayaprakash Narayan, you have, to me, you are a very unique person because you are a medico professional turned bureaucrat turned politician. What is your take on bureaucratic corruption?
Even today, in our interactions privately, I was mentioning to our people that there is one class of Indians who are the true enemies of the people. It's not politicians. We all think they are. It is the bureaucrats. Because of two reasons. One, the constraints that the politicians face day in and day out of survival, of insecurity. In a desperately poor country, we have discussed some of the features of our democracy, which are less than edifying. They don't really apply to bureaucrats. There is no country on earth which gives such an oppressive sense of security to bureaucrats. Article 311, to the best of my knowledge, there is no constitution in the world where the constitution sanctifies the survival in office of the public servants. It's virtually impossible to sack a public servant in India. And yet their failure is as pronounced as that of the politicians, if not more pronounced. For another reason, the bureaucracy has failed India. I'm not saying this out of anger. I was a very proud bureaucrat, and many people rightly or wrongly believe that I was one of the most successful bureaucrats in the history of post-independence India. So I'm not saying you're a bitter fruit or no sour grapes or something like that. I'm saying very pragmatically. If the service delivery is good in India, the point I made just now about the dependence on the political workers and therefore a massive party apparatus which costs enormous money, and therefore the cost of it and therefore corruption, which is endemic, and therefore the delegitimization of politics, and therefore everything else that follows, would not have happened. And two, if bureaucracy did a great job, it pains me to say this, but sometimes starkly we must state facts. I'm about the only Indian who says these things publicly. Others know, sort of either don't know or don't care or don't want to say it. Out of the 49 large nations in the world, large defined as $200 billion plus GDP, at a point of time, 1 or 2 years ago, there are 49 countries in the world. I have taken all the key indicators that we all broadly agree upon. Electricity per capita consumption, the quality of power available, water supply, quality of water, sanitation, years of schooling, educational outcomes, healthcare, maternal mortality, infant mortality, the normal indicators that we all broadly agree upon. Out of the 49 nations, India consistently on every single parameter stands between 45 and 49. You know which are the countries which are constantly in our company? There are 3 countries which are always in our company in this group of 5. One country keeps varying from parameter to parameter. Pakistan, our leaders and our politicians and people in media say we are fantastic compared to Pakistan. No, sir. We are exactly like Pakistan. Bangladesh, Nigeria. Now, it's inconceivable that many of these things are stopped because of politicians. There is no politician in India who doesn't want healthcare in India. He doesn't know how to get it done. There is no politician in India who doesn't want education in India. At the end of the day, it's a bureaucratic failure. Therefore, I have very tough words for bureaucracy. Again, not because bureaucrats are bad fellows. You create any system where you choose the finest people at the apex, and even at the bottom, actually, we do recruit some fine people because there's intense competition for government jobs in India. We all know that. And then give a monopoly that you don't ever get sacked, whatever you do. One. Two, if you now I'm talking of senior services like IAS, you get a monopoly hold over all the key jobs in the country. Three, you are never held to account for the outcomes. You put any structure in place in this manner, exactly what's happening in India is what you get. We've done it to ourselves. We need to change it. I was a member of the Administrative Reforms Commission. I struggled very hard to try and change that culture a little bit. As of now, it's still unsuccessful.
I just have a couple more questions with your permission, if I could ask those questions. I was born in Chennai, but I grew up in Andhra, partly in Nagarjuna Sagar. What happened that led to the partition of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh? Now, I just want to know, because there's so much going back and forth about, what was promised, what was delivered. So in your opinion, what did the UPA deliver? Promise, and what did the NDA deliver?
Wait for a few days, because I constituted a committee of experts, very eminent people. They finalized the report for information. Then I got it vetted, it's in final stages, by independent non-Telugu experts of eminence. I can even give the names: Dr. Y.K. Alak, a former Union Minister and an eminent economist and member of the Planning Commission, and 3 other experts, including members of the Finance Commission, etc., but all of non-Telugu origin, so that if it's Telugu people, who doesn't want good for Telugu? If Tamil people, who don't want the good for Tamil? It's natural. But we need a very independent basis. Then let's see where we go from there. So I don't want to say anything more. In a few days' time, it will be public.
So that's an excellent initiative, because I've hesitated to write about what is happening in Andhra and Telangana, because with not knowing all the facts, it's really unfortunate, by the way, to all those of us that felt that Dr. JP should be the one who should be arbitrating how the assets of the 2 states should be divided, because he was the only one. I don't know if you have seen the debates that used to take place in the legislative assemblies. He was the only one who said that whatever happens, the good of both new states should be done. There's always, it just blew my mind how people were taking sides on some flimsiest of reasons. So I'm glad that you're going to come out with that initiative. Dr. JP, you also fought the previous assembly election, 2014 Lok Sabha elections from Malkajgiri, arguably the most literate constituency in India, all of India. Now, my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding was leading up to the elections, the TDP-BJP coalition was going to lend support to Dr. Jayaprakash Narayan, leading up to the elections. Then what happened?
They are the best judges. They can answer that question, not I. All I can say is, in moments of high polarization, in this case, Modi has taken over the mantle of reform and the fight against corruption. In the public mind, public imagination, Modi was seen as symbol. Therefore, you get crushed. 2, Andhra, Telangana. The people of Andhra origin, but living in Hyderabad city, all of Telangana is one side, all of Andhra is one side Andhra. But people of original Andhra Pradesh origin, they all wanted me, but they were worried that if they voted for me, TRS would be elected. On that day, I'm saying. The people of Telangana origin, they all wanted me, but they were worried that if they voted for me, TDP would be elected. You get crushed. Earlier, remember we discussed, people always want the second worst fellow to be elected because they fear somebody in their judgment is the first worst. So once you have that kind of hyperpolarization, there is no space for rational politics. Particularly when no major party is willing to support you or stand by you. And I don't know myself what happened, but whatever happened, I don't really bother about that. The fact is that we had to fight on our own, and in our country, when assembly elections also are going on, To contest and win for parliament when paying money and having the organization of the local MLAs is so critical for the parliament election. It's always a hard struggle, but just for your, now that the issue is raised, I was asked by one of these major parties, one of the top leaders, to contest from Vijayawada. With their support, I would have won hands down. There was no question about it. I declined. There's a reason. I was not seeking to be elected by any means. The moment you get lost in the caste politics or the money being distributed, even if you don't do it, it doesn't matter who is there. Therefore, I wanted to be elected, if at all elected, by the people who would not be swayed by money and other considerations, and therefore I would have a moral authority and stature to be an instrument for bigger reform in the country. If that was not the case, I have no serious interest in being a member of parliament or a cabinet minister. On that day, if I were elected, probably there was a fair chance, many people believe, that I would have been in the council of ministers, but it never attracted me. Unless that leads to a tangible change. I'm not unmindful of the importance of power. I'm not a fool. I exercised power. Those of you who know me, when I exercised power, if you don't know, you ask your parents in your respective districts, they'll tell you how I exercised power. So it's not that I don't want power, I don't understand the meaning of power, I don't know how to exercise power. But it must be on my terms, because I'm not seeking to be an executive for executive's sake. I'm seeking to transform. And for that, you must be willing to pay a price.
Thank you, Dr. JP. I think it is India's loss and most importantly Andhra Pradesh and Telangana's loss that his voice is not heard in the Lok Sabha. I mean, we need intellectuals like him to be there. And if you want to know, YouTube is an excellent library for looking up to people's philosophies and ideologies. I still remember being attracted to his thoughts when I watched him talk to the recently passed away Lok Sabha speaker, Somnath Chatterjee. Yes, and
I think Narayana Murthy and Shashi Tharoor and former Chief Justice Ahmadi and I participated in that, 4 of us.
This is my last question, and I think others might want to ask some more questions. Sir, the other question I have is, I'm reading, and actually I've written about this. My understanding of elections is this buying the vote by paying money started in Tamil Nadu. All the bad things usually seem to start from Tamil Nadu, especially the linguistic stuff.
Don't take the credit for that.
Never mind, just mentioning this.
We believe we are the pioneers, but we're all in the same boat now.
Now, sir, North has not been affected by this buying votes with money, but I'm hearing very reliable reports that there's going to be $25 billion. Try to get your mind around, wrap your mind around. $25 billion is approximately 175,000 lakh crores. Almost 1 year's tax income of India is going to be spent in 2019 Lok Sabha elections. I hope I am wrong, but what is your take on this? Do you think money is going to sway the votes?
That number is not too far-fetched, though it is not equal to tax revenue. Tax revenue of the government of India is about 16 lakh crores, 17 lakh crores of that order.
Personal tax?
All taxes put together. All taxes put together. But it's a humongous sum. Bigger than what United States, the world's richest country, can dream of. Trust me. And if you take the purchasing power terms, there's simply no comparison. It's humongous sum. It's broadly, there may be some inaccuracy because nobody can estimate accurately, but it's, by an order of magnitude, it's a reasonable number. 2 northern states, sadly, are also in the same trajectory. They're just behind the curve.
They have been there for a long time.
They're just behind the curve.
Give them tumbles
If in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana and Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, 10 crores is pretty much normal for an assembly election, there 1 crore is a big amount. But it's a matter of time. Earlier 10 lakhs was a big amount there. Some years ago, I was participating in some kind of a workshop or discussion at the national level. I think this was in Goa, and it was held by a media house. Somebody, a journalist, received me at the airport. He happened to be working in Kashmir, maybe Kashmiri also. This was 10, 12 years ago, 10 years ago. Just then elections in Kashmir were held. You just go back 10, 12 years, you will remember. That's how old I am, These are all ancient memories. Then I asked him what happened in Kashmir, vote buying, etc. He said, sir, no problem. 500 rupees PDP, 1,000 rupees Congress. I think some numbers he mentioned. I was astounded. I thought in Jammu and Kashmir, elections are about Hindu, Muslim, Pakistan, Azadi, this, that, good, bad, ugly. I thought the issues would be highly polarizing, emotive, non-monetary considerations. I was surprised. I was also elated because I realized that Jammu and Kashmir will never secede. It became part of India. So, except to my knowledge today, to a significant extent, there is no absolute statement. Kerala, West Bengal to a significant extent. Earlier days, I don't know about today, Gujarat. Every major state in the same trajectory, money for votes. Does it sway? Not necessarily. But does it influence the outcomes? Dramatically. What it means is if you don't spend money on vote buying, the chances of getting elected are nil to negligible. If you spend money, it becomes an entry fee, then you are competing seriously. You may or may not be elected. Therefore, everybody now, the serious parties competing for power, have to necessarily spend money. An individual or two occasionally may not spend money and still have a chance of getting elected, but this is an exception. But a general rule is if you don't spend, you have no chance. If you spend, then now you're competing. It's a much more complex process than money guaranteeing victory.
You've got a comment.
I just had an announcement to make and then we'll keep going. So one is actually on the last one, there was one Panchayat election where in the Lok Satta group we were trying to participate. 50, this is a village, 50% of the village was basically family of the guy who was standing from Lok Satta. And he still didn't win. His family didn't want to spend on it. They didn't vote for him because he couldn't pay. And
some people will say Edukondalo in Krishna district, one without spending a single rupee, but he's finding it so hard. And there is this person Ravi, Bellam Ravi in then Karimnagar district, Husnabad area. I don't know which district now it is. There are 31 districts. Very difficult for me to keep track now in Telangana. He came to me after winning and said, sir, I must be truthful to you. Somehow people become very truthful when dealing with me. I'm the confessional priest. So he said, sir, I spent 8 lakhs to buy the vote. I said, why did you do this, Ravi? A, I won't allow you to buy to use your whatever little office there is to make money. And B, that's not the way we want to change the country. He said, sir, if other fellows are paying 500 rupees, all they're expecting me is from 50 rupees. If even 50 is not paid, there's no chance. What I thought is if I pay 50, get elected and then actually show change. I said, look, you will find that that's not the way it works. It didn't work that way. I gave my immense support to him. I intervened with the collector and others several times. Ultimately, after near 1.5 years, with tears in my eyes, he came said, please permit me to join TRS. At least because I'm then with the ruling party, something can happen. I said, please go join. I encouraged him. He went and joined. Nothing happened here. See, system is much more complex than it appears. Just because I become a sarpanch or MLA or MP, it doesn't mean a thing. Many ministers used to come to me in the assembly and say about their own subject, sir, please say this, say something. I said, you are the minister, you are the presiding deity, you do it. He said, who bothers about me, sir? I am only minister for the car and phone and peon. If you at least say that in the assembly, the CM will notice, others will notice, and something I can push. I'm not exaggerating a bit. Absolute truth. There is an illusion of power. There are only 3 functionaries who have some power, with minor variations elsewhere. The PM, the CM, the DM. Others are all ciphers. So somehow when people in Lok Satta and elsewhere say, why not contest elections, why not get one? Let us assume the best case scenario. What the hell is going to happen, do you think? So this excitement about elections, I don't know, very uniquely Indian. Have excitement about outcomes, my plea to you all. And then figure out what is the best means available. Election, some other thing, I don't care what. as long as ethical and constitutional, I don't really care what weapon we use, but outcome, what are we seeking? Please don't forget that.
All right, with that, just a quick break. Actually, Dr. JP is in the US on a personal trip. We didn't invite him for political reasons.
Not very personal, no.
On a
Being
personal
an old
trip.
man, I'm a nostalgic tour because my class reunion after 46 years. I joined medicine 46 years ago. Almost none of you were born, maybe Sree Iyer was born. And then also my college reunion. From my college, there are almost 1,800 doctors here, maybe up to 2,000 or so. I thought many of these people I didn't meet for a long time. Then my long-suffering wife,
Yeah, I was going to introduce
I asked her to join me because at least some flavor of this country and other things. To forgive some of my past sins.
She was going to introduce